We thank God for another day. We thank God for another opportunity to discuss His Word that we may grow thereby. Um, we greet every one of you in the name of the Father, His Son, Jesus. We thank God for the empowerment of His Holy Spirit. Thank God for each one of your hearts that are here in our presence. We pray blessings upon you and your whole house. We've been dealing with spiritual warfare, and so we're going to go a little deeper. Is that all right with you? As I was studying today, the whole purpose is of me continuing to go in one facet or another facet pertaining to the warfare that we're up against, because if you don't know, you will get tricked. There are such things as seducing spirits, spirits of deception, spirits of manipulation. But if I feel as though if the Lord allow us to enlighten each other on what to look for, there are just certain things we shouldn't be fooled by. And so I thank God for the almost month we talked about the lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, the pride of life. I hope it humbled us in a whole nother dimension, that we don't be big-headed and puffed up and thinking we're better than anybody else. We're just blessed, and it's because of the grace of God that we are who we are and where we are. Amen. And so tonight I want to just take another turn. I want to talk about the spirit of witchcraft and how real is it? The spirit of witchcraft and how real is it? The people that deal in witchcraft, some of them don't even know they're dealing in it. And so I believe as pastor, it is my job to inform and empower you. Because what the spirit of witchcraft is worshiping or seeking of supernatural powers other than God. Ooh. There are entertainers, and we'll talk about it at a later date. There are entertainers that have literally sold their souls to the devil for fame and for fortune. But can I tell you, it does not come free and it does not come cheap. There's a hidden society called Illuminatis. Okay. That there, anytime that you agree to their terms, really they're no more than devil worshipers. And they deal with the pentagram that represents the sign of Satan. And the next thing is that if you agree to the terms, there has to be somebody within your circle, somebody you're close to, some of your loved ones that has to be sacrificed to fulfill the contractual obligation. It is not a joke. It is real. If people that were not popular, when they sold their soul, literally they blew up and became millionaires, and some even became billionaires. It is a form of witchcraft, because what we think is the enemy is not really the enemy. We have to know that he has so many tricks, that he knows how to deceive us, that he'll cause us to want earthly things, but we have to constantly remind ourselves that the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and its rights, and all these things will be added, because God will not settle for being number two. He's going to be number one, or he's not going to be none at all. That's how come the Bible started talking about giving them over to a reprobate mind, because they didn't have a mind to serve him. So he just took his hand off and said, now let the enemy do whatever he wants to do. Witchcraft is real. Because when you start dealing with witchcraft, horoscopes is a part of witchcraft. Okay. Talking about what's your sign? My sign is I'm saved. Because where the horoscopes come from is reading stars. And people that read stars in the biblical term are called stargazers. And what they try to do is they try to say that your future is in the stars. If you are a child of God, your future is in the hand of the Lord. It's already been planned from the beginning. God knew the end in the beginning. And so I don't need nobody to read a star to tell me, oh, you born under this sign. No, I'm not born under this sign, but I'm covered under that blood. Black magic is real. Now, listen, the people that practice certain things, they practice them because that's where their faith is. The sad reality of it is, Sister Dawson, there are people right here in this house that do all these different things, and then they'll come in and out shouting out praise. But the Bible said no man can serve two masters. Either you're a master of the kingdom of darkness, or you of the kingdom of light, and that's your master, who is our Father God. And so the reality of it is it comes in so many forms, so many facets. When you start dealing with witchcraft, you start dealing with roots. Yeah, listen to me. If you are a true person of faith, can't nobody put nothing on you. No, y'all talk to me. If you are literally walking by faith and not by sight, then God has you covered, and God sees things you don't see. I don't care how much white dust, white powder. I don't care how many chicken feet they cut out. If you are covered by the blood of Jesus Christ, but witchcraft is real. And some folk believe witchcraft more than they believe God. Listen, people think I don't know, but there are people in this church that take a ride down to Florida. Listen, the day is going to come when all you're going to be able to do is to fall on your face and seek an answer from the all-seeing, all-knowing God. Because when you start dealing with roots and dealing with black magic, you never can give up fortune telling, like they can predict your future. No. How can they predict your future when we believe the Bible when it says those he foreknew? Come on. He preordained, which means if God know you, he already know how your story gonna end. And if you know God and you know his word, you already know no matter how much hell you go through, how many ups, how many down, if you read your Bible, you'll find out we're gonna be victorious in the end. That's why we're going to lift up our hands now, even though we ought to be down, because I read the end of the story. Palm readers is another form of witchcraft. Y'all know people that read the lines in your hand. They reading the lines in your hand and they lying. What's in my hand is not important. Whose hand I'm in, that's what's important. And believe it or not, these things are introduced into us. And it's called a seducing spirit because it seemed attractive, that it appeared to work for them. And you thinking just because it worked for them, that it's going to work for you. Can I tell you what the soothsayers and those that read palms and those that do? Can I tell you? Listen, come on, let's just make sense. Anybody you can go to and say, I can give you the numbers to hit the lottery. Come on, let's make it make sense. If you can give it to me, if the Powerball is so many $100 million, and you want me to give you $25 to give me the numbers. Come on, no. Let's think. Let's be realistic. Why would I give you $25 and you ain't playing, but you want my $25? It's all about where you put your faith and your confidence. And when you dibble and dabble in witchcraft and roots and palm readers and people with crystal balls and people that burn incense, you are creating a defilement in your body, which God says that I'm going to cast you aside, and I'm not going to, it's a detestable to God. I'm going to show it to you. It's detestable to God that when we dibble and dabble in stuff that is not of the kingdom of God, it's the kingdom of darkness. I got another, and I used to be guilty of it, Mr. Deacon Daltrey. I used to read my little horoscope when I was young and didn't know better. I used to read I'm going to be honest, but listen, When you know better. No. When you know better, you do better. And so the thing is, um, we do things that we don't even know what it is we're doing, and we're opening doors that we don't even realize what's going on. Can I make these tornadoes and all that and the hurricanes? Can I make it make sense? Every storm does not come from God. Say to mama. He's the prince. Do y'all understand what that means? That means he has the power given by God to manipulate the atmosphere. Can I tell you why a lot of people are evacuating? Even my wife was telling me, my wife say, the kids want to meet with you, and they want you to call when they get home. They want to know what we going to do, because the storm coming, and they want to know because they believe Papa can do anything. No, Papa just got a Papa that can do anything. Listen, every storm, naturally, is not a storm from God. Okay? Prove that biblically. And Jesus said to his disciples, let us go to the other side. And Jesus went into the bow of the boat, and he fell asleep, and the storm began to rage, and they went down to the bottom of the boat, and they woke Jesus up, and they took him up top, and they said, Master, care us not that we perish. Okay, that's not the part. But the part that got me, and Jesus spoke to the storm, peace, be still. That storm was not from God, because if that storm was from God, that is Jesus rebuking God. God, y'all need to. And the reason peace had to be still, because he was the captain of the storm, even if it's a storm from the demons. Y'all understanding what I'm saying? I believe, I'm crazy enough to believe, that if Jesus is on our ship, I'm talking about in our lives, that if the church got together for real, any storm, be it natural, be it physical, be it spiritual, I believe that if we got together and asked him, God, careth thou not if we perish, that he can speak immediately, and any storm that he did not ordain for our life, I just believe that if he speak, peace be still, everything will cease. Okay? Will make it make sense with all these tornadoes and all being there, because the Bible talks about what's going to happen in the last day. He already warned us something was going to happen. He already said that stuff was going to happen in diverse places. I know this ain't Oklahoma, but Albany was a little bit of Oklahoma because it had become Tornado Alley. Why, Keith? Why is the tornado over in Texas, and now there's one coming up through the Atlantic? Why is all that? Can I tell you? Because warning comes. Y'all better get some understanding. Listen, and guess who he's warning? And it's two out in the other Atlantic. But watch this. We have to know that no matter what storm the enemy throws at us, our God is way more powerful. So my faith is in somebody that don't have some power. My faith is in somebody that has all power. Wait a minute, you got to remember, the prince of darkness, God created him. So he's just a creature just like us. He has no authority over us. Can I tell you what he can give you? False dreams, false hopes, cause you to walk outside of the will and the way of God. So let's do some scripture. What about Galatians chapter 5? Galatians chapter 5. Go all the way down to verse 19. You know what? Tip, stay where you are. Y'all back up to verse 16. 16. Watch what it says. This is Paul writing to the church at Galatia. He says, "This I say, then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh." They want two separate things. Okay, now watch this. "And these are contrary, one to another." The flesh ain't got nothing for the Spirit, and the Spirit don't have nothing for the flesh. So every decision we make, we have to ask, is it my flesh? No, y'all come on. Listen, if it only satisfies you, that's your flesh. So he says to us, there are two things going on. There are two thought processes that has to take place, but there can only be one winner. Your flesh can't win, and your spirit too. You can't fulfill your flesh, and then talking about you fulfilling your spirit. It's either going to be one or the other. Either you're going to serve God or you're going to serve the kingdom of darkness. One or the other. Now, I want to take you a little further because I'm going somewhere. Watch this. And they are contrary to one another, so that you cannot do the things that ye would. If you are controlled by your spirit, you don't do what you want to do. Because you're not trying to please your flesh, you're trying to please your God. Okay. But if you be led of the Spirit, you're not under the law. Why is why is Paul talking about the law? Because you have to remember when they started the church in Galatia, they thought they were still under law because nobody had presented them with grace. In other words, they thought they still had to try to fulfill something that Christ fulfilled on the cross. So when Paul started teaching salvation, justification, and righteousness, when he started teaching that, it was new to them because the only thing they knew about is thou shalt not. So Paul was trying to tell them, look, we don't move from the outer court to the inner court because the veil has been torn. And now, to be honest with you, when you make your confession, now that becomes between you and God and not you and the church. Because when it was under the law, you made your confession to the priest. But now we have a high priest that now I don't have to tell you. I can go to him and tell him for my own self. So he starts saying the law has been fulfilled in that of the personhood of Jesus Christ. So when he started dealing with them here, he says, because I saw him when I was on the road to Damascus, he showed up, but he wasn't in the flesh. He was in the spirit, so that let me know that his spirit is real. Paul never started walking in the spirit until he had an encounter with Christ. What does that say? You will never know who Christ is if you haven't had a personal encounter. Church cannot do that. Singing, teaching, preaching cannot do it. There has to be a personal, intimate relationship, encounter with him. Whether you're on the mountaintop, in the valley, you ought to know him when he showed up. And every one of us in here, because we come out on Wednesday night, we come not to hear me. We come because I had an encounter. And I know his voice. And if it's his word, I'm going to relate to his word even if I can't relate to the person. Now, okay. Let's go to 19. Listen to what it says. I want y'all to highlight this in your Bibles. Now, it's saying now. Y'all see that? That's present. Am I right? And it talks about the works of the flesh are manifest. And it gives you a list of stuff. One writer say that the acts of the sinful nature are obvious. Listen to what it said. Sexual immoralities. Now, y'all look up. Every time you see the word sexual immoralities, it is not always talking about sex. Sexual immoralities is anything that you allow to come into you. Because anytime something comes into you, it leaves seeds. And seeds that continue to be watered will grow. God, it's the process. As long as the earth remains, it'll be seed, time, harvest. All the seeds are not good seeds. But there will always be a harvest, whether it's a good seed or a bad seed. You want to know how I know? We go out to the farm with JP, and they just got acres and acres. And some of the plants, they plant thousands. All of them don't grow. Because you'll notice some fields and some rows, they don't go down. You want to know why? They planted, but the seed wasn't good. Here's where I'm going with that. We have to make sure that in us are sown good seed. When you start talking about sexual immoralities, what's the word I want to use? Intercourse. Okay, not the flesh. Come on, get in the spirit with me. Intercourse is a lesson that is learned from the inside out. You don't believe me? When Libby came and told us she was expecting, and she was about 6 weeks, she didn't look like, because the effects, it was in her, but there was no evidence. When we start dealing in immorality, it's in us, and it's going to grow. And if it keeps growing, it's going to show. Got some greens from Johnny, and I planted in this big old pot, and it was laid on the porch for about 2 weeks, but we would keep watering the roots. And so one day I went out to the garage, I got this big pot, and I put it down, and I forgot what I was doing. I said, honey, do something for me. Plant those greens in this big pot for me. She said, okay, baby, I got the greens. Believe it or not, we kept watering not all of them that looked like they were dead. They're oh my God, they're so pretty, and they're standing up. And what I'm saying is, you have to watch what's in you, because what's in you will get nurtured, and it will grow, and it will stand up. Can I tell you why a lot of people losing their mind? It's because they didn't watch the seed that was going in them. So he deals, come on, Tip, throw me back up, sexual immoralities. He deal with impurities. What are impurities? I'm glad you asked. Impurities are anything that you think that is not right or righteous. Any conversation that we have that are not holy. Oh, here's a good one right here. Debauchery. Anybody know what debauchery is? I'm glad you asked. Debauchery is where, if you look up the history of debauchery, this word is referring to pornography. Porno. For those that have, I know you have one page. For those of you that have a strong concordance, look up that word debauchery. Why does he deal with porn? Because anything that the eyes see, the mind projects and holds on to the memory. That's why you have sexual perverts. God, because the seed that went in them created a picture that they feel like they got to fulfill. Okay, we ain't got it. You know a man ain't supposed to do that. It is a sin for the man to self-satisfy. Oh no, was supposed to go into his brother's wife because he didn't have any children before he died. He went in and enjoyed the act. I'm in the Bible now, don't. He went in and he enjoyed the act, but when it got time to get to that place, he came out and his seed hit the ground, and God killed me. Y'all, come on. And God killed me. That is a part of pornography, that he carried out the act, but he didn't finish the job. Come on, Tim. Debauchery, idolatry. Everybody know what idolatry is? Anything that you put before God is idolatry. Oh, come on, can I bless you? When you wake up on the day of worship and God don't say it, don't forsake the assembling yourself together, and you say, but I'm tired and I want to go to sleep, you are saying that that is idolatry because you're putting yourself before your God. Do you understand why you be tired and why the enemy challenges you? He don't want you to know he don't want you to know the abundance of the sacrifice that Christ made. And sometimes getting up on Sunday morning is something else for the preacher, it's something else for the usher, it's something else for the choir, it's something else for the deacon. But when we think about the goodness of Jesus, why am I go? Because if God allowed me, he don't let me work 5-6 days, and the least I could do, Sister Rebecca, O-N-O. It's in O-N-O. It's in the Old Testament. I text it to you. No, that's self-justification. That's that's self-justification. He can be a man to God. He can be a man of the house. He can be a man at home. Anything that, because sex is designed to be consummated between the husband. It's a trick. Now hear me. We just got through talking about the things of the flesh. Sex only satisfies the flesh. That's why when you do it with who you ain't supposed to do it with, that's why you feel guilty. Some folk feel guilty afterwards. But when it becomes a stronghold, the more you do it, the more you own it. We are in adult Bible study, right? I'm okay? Okay, all right. Listen, this is the honest to God truth. I hate that she's not in here. Before she retired, let me show you how the enemy uses debauchery, idolatry, and all these things in the next generation of children. She was working at a daycare, and the daycare only housed those up to pre-K. Y'all with me so far? So the pre-K children shouldn't know nothing about all that stuff. Am I right? She goes into the bathroom and finds one little boy that has another little boy bent over. Wait a minute, y'all missing it. 4, 5 years old. God, see, because what debauchery and idolatry and all that does, it sets you up for homosexuality. Now, here's the thing you have to ask yourself. If he's 4 or 5 years old and he's trying to perform this act, where did he see it at? No. No, y'all understand what I'm saying? And it's real. The enemy don't care how he gets in. He just want to get in. Why he act like that? Yes, sir, Mr. Plowden. Amen. Listen. Now I'm gonna say this because I don't want to point one wrong and make it seem like it's worse than other. Y'all, God hates the a lying tongue. No, y'all come on. That's it. Sit cross the board. Cross the board. You want to know why? It's easy to point out the homosexuals because they look like the spirit that has possessed them. The only time you know a person is a liar is when they open their mouth. And as long as they keep their mouth closed, you ain't got nothing to say. No, y'all, come on, talk. But with the homosexual man, it's ever he gonna tell on himself. Now watch this. The reason, and I'm trying to make it make sense to why he said God loves the gays. He loves the person. He loves the person because he created the person. And according to Genesis, when he created the person on the sixth day, he said it was good. Y'all missed it. And what the enemy does is the enemy comes in and make you think that you're bad, which goes against the principles of God when God called you good. And God didn't start calling you good when you joined the church. He called you good in the beginning. Now, I do some bad things, but because I came from a good God and he made me with his good hands and he blew his good breath in me, in spite of what I do, I'm still good. Maybe not in your eye, but in his eyes. Listen, that's the whole purpose of repentance. Listen, the whole purpose of Christ's grace here, the more you mess up, the more the blood cover you up. But here, you got to go what Paul said. Shall we continue to sin that grace may abound? Well, I love y'all. Y'all some Bible readers. No, you don't want to find out where grace run out. Anybody ever been on a train ride? Okay. On a train ride, D, especially, y'all go to New York and all them places, especially in that city, in case of an emergency, they got a cord that runs all the way through every car. And if you pull that cord, no matter who driving the train gonna stop. But you can only pull it in the case of an emergency. Grace is just like that cord. God driving the train. And when we mess up, we pull, y'all come on. We pull it, even though I'm headed for destruction, I can pull the cord and the brakes gonna lock and the conductor gonna look back, and the first thing the conductor gonna do before he say who pulled the cord, he gonna wanna know, is everybody all right? And so when we mess up and we know we messed up, only thing God asks because of his grace, is everybody all right? Come on, Tim, I got to get out of here. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, some stuff I ain't even got to go over. How can you say you love God in whom you have not? And can I bless you? Any of these spirits will not enter in because it's a spirit of darkness. He said hatred, discord. Some folk just don't like folk that get along. Some people don't like the spirit of harmony. Listen, if you want to possess the spirit of harmony, can I tell you how to get it? Don't tell nobody else. This just for Bible study people. In order for you to have a spirit of harmony, you have to, first of all, have to have a spirit of harmony in you. We can't just get along. I have to have harmony in. I got to be satisfied with me. I can't expect you to love me, and I don't love me. No, y'all understand? Then here's the thing. Most folk depend on folk to love them. Let me see. Now, we ain't got nobody in here that don't love themselves. I love me some me. Listen, you know why I love me some me? Because the more I live, the more I understand how much God loves me. And I said to myself, if God can love me like that, I ought to be able to love me like that, so I can love her like that, and I can love him like that. And the Bible said it, and I say it all the time. It's a shame that wives and husbands can come to church and hug and don't hug at home. That's not real. No, that's not real. The Bible says charity, love. Where it begins, you can't spread it. You can't spread it everywhere and you ain't spreading nothing at home. And if you spread it everywhere else and not at home, you spreading it in the wrong place. And that's a spirit of disorder and discord. You ain't got nothing good. Every now and then they do like to hear, girl, you sure look good today. You said it when. And the sad reality of it is the enemy thrives on discord. He likes division. Because if he separates us and isolates us one by one, he makes the body weak. Because where there is unity. I'm like Al Green, not so if where there's unity, there's strength. Let's do like Al Green. Let's stay together. Come on, Tim. I got a long way to go. So he says, discord, jealousy. Jealousy. I got one. Why do people get mad when you upgrade your car, but when you had a hoop that they didn't have a problem with you? Okay, that ain't a good one. Why when you used to have to put Vaseline on your legs, now you can buy stockings every week? They ain't had nothing to say when you had to get the Vaseline, but now that you got stockings that match everything, they got a lot to say. Listen, and most of what people are jealous of is stuff, what you possess. Listen, your father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. No. One thing I know about General Motors, Nissan, Cadillac, GMC, Ford, Mercury, they make more than one car. So why be jealous because he drive a Navigator? With all you got to do, no, y'all. I went to see Hester today, and he said, hey, Rev, did you get the text message from K&G Monday? I said, yeah, man. They had to buy one, get two free, even on clearance. He said, you know, the first person I thought about was you. I said, the first person I thought about was you. I said, I ought to just go and get me and Reb and Gerald a suit of pee. I said, I ain't think about that part, but what I'm saying is, if you want something, if you do right by God, let me tell you something. He'll give you more stuff. No. He'll give you more stuff. Won't he do it? No. I'm a witness. That's what he said, ain't it? I'll pour you out a blessing. That you can hold your arms out like this, and you still can't catch it. So, come on, Tip. I'm finna cut off for this week. Oh, jealousy. Fits. I think I need to skip that because I know people have fits in here almost every Sunday. And the sad reality of it is, the enemy will allow us to have these spirits in us and still come to church. Still. And justify it like this. I've been this way all my life. That's justification. You trying to justify why you ain't changed. The Bible said, if any man be in Christ Jesus. That's what, that's what the Bible says. You can't put new wine in old wineskin because it'll bust. In other words, the old man, the new man won't fit into your present program. You have to be not conformed, but be ye, that you may prove. that you may show what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. In other words, when I've been changed, I ain't saying I'm perfect, but I'm saying there ought to be some noticeable changes that somebody else recognize. What you say? Come on, Tip. Rage. Y'all know people that have fits. Huh? Oh, all they need is a whooping. No. No. Yeah, especially the mailman. Let me show you. Let me tell y'all something. Sister Dawson, yeah, because you one of them mamas. I know you one of them. Oh, they don't told me about you. When we were growing up, how old the man is? That little man right there? Right here, the little man between you and sister. God, he a midget. Listen, when we were small, and mama would take us to the store, if we had a fit of rage on her. Okay, let me ask a question. If you showed out in harvest, what did mama show out? Can I tell you? I'm going to get you when, I'm going to get you when you get home. No. If you did it on the cereal aisle, she got you on the cereal aisle. And for us, that can be real. When they got us, they never had to get us about the same thing again. Say it again. About the fitted rage, wherever you show out is where you get it. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, and I used to ask Mama, why you just embarrassed me like that? She said, when you had that fit, you embarrassed me. My mama ain't never say, I'm gonna get you when you get home. If you showed out in church, no, let's keep it real. If you showed out in church, the last thing you wanted is your mama to have to get up and lead a service and drag you down the center. Oh, wow. can, can, can I bless you real good? Can I tell you what they were doing that we thought was natural, but it was spiritual? You Once you did that, you didn't have any more problems. Can I tell you why? That once you beat Maurice or you beat Alex, because what you did is the spirit bought that flesh up under subjection. If it didn't come under subjection, but nowhere but this grocery store or the church, that spirit knew not to show out. And that person had enough sense to say, you know what? Whatever it is, you just got to wait. Watch this. And if it can happen to children, it can happen to adults. Listen, the reason the spirit take over is because you don't try to bring it under subjection. I can do what I want to. No, you can't do what you want to do. Come on, Tim. I got to go. Fits of rage, selfish ambition. It's all about me. I got to get on top. What I said Sunday, need an eye exam. Because this isn't about us. When you come into the kingdom of God, it's about the work of the ministry of reconciliation. It's about the work of the ministry pertaining to salvation. So when we come in, it is no longer I. That's what Paul said. It's no longer I. It's the Christ that is in me. Not the hell that's in you. Come on, Tip. I gotta go. Ooh, dissension. I ain't gotta say that either. Friction. They go together. Some people ain't right unless hell is in them. No, seriously. As your pastor, can I tell you something? It's not my way or yours. It is. Listen, people sit back and say, if I was him. Okay? They don't say it if I was you, if I was him. Well, guess what? If I come to you and say, we're going to do such and such, such and such, or the Lord is leading us to do such and such, such and such, I promise you, I got scripture to back me up. That every way we move by the word. Not on selfish ambition. It ain't about me. I ain't trying to be big. I'm trying to make God big and be high and lifted up. So the reality of it is we have to check our attitude at the door. Can I bless you? It's so simple that even when you have ministry meeting, if you got a problem with your ministry leader, you're walking in disobedience. No, seriously. That's disobedience. And God, y'all wait a minute, watch this. God is the God of, and most of you know the order. And if you know the order, from the pulpit to the back door, we need to get in order. Come on, Tip. Frictions. Y'all know what friction is. That rubbing together that causes that heat, that burning sensation. You ain't trying to start a fire, so you ain't coming in here to start no friction. Go to the next one, Tip. And envy. Why you going to envy somebody? Here's the thing. I know most of you, and I know where most of you come from. And even where you are, in your heart, you feel like God has greater for you. Why the people that envy you didn't envy you when you didn't have nothing? When you were struggling, when you had all them children, but you didn't know how you were going to feed them, and the light bill was due, and you just didn't have the money, but some kind of way, God just made a way out of no way. And the folk that could have helped you talked about you, and as soon as God raised you and exalted you and started making a way and giving you some overflow, they got the nerve and the audacity to be envious of you if they wasn't with you in the struggle. No, they talked about you when you was in the struggle, and now that God done did something in your life, they want to talk about you now. Some folk, come on, Tip. Drunkenness. Whew. Now, you can be drunk in more than one way. Now, if you were to look at most liquors, they call them spirits. And what spirits do is spirits cause you to be out of your mind. Now watch this. You can be drunk and not have a drop of liquor. Because the enemy will get in your mind and literally cause you to think you done lost your mind. People always talk about people that drinking. The Bible say don't be a drunken. Well, the Bible say don't be an overeater too. It's called glutton. It say don't lie, don't be a talebearer, don't be a busybody. Why all of a sudden we want to get hard on the alcoholic? Can I tell you something? It says do all things in moderation. Y'all come on, talk to me. It's okay. Do it in moderation. It ain't what you do, it's how you. See, I like that one. It ain't what goes in that defiles you. It's what comes out. And people that know people that overeat and that drink and people that's on drugs, we'll talk about them, but you doing something too that you shouldn't be doing, and you doing it in excess and not in moderation, and it's not right. The Bible says we should judge this matter and not that matter. Come on, talk. Come on, Tip. Orgies. Y'all know what orgies are? No. Oh, Deacon Bell say no. Okay. For couples, they got this thing out now. It's been out, but some of you know about it, some of you don't, called swinging. Y'all know what swinging is? Swinging is, I ain't going to use us as an example. Swings. Chain, yeah. like they square dancing or something. Everybody changed partners. And it's to the point now that now it's not just the women being with the men, but now it's the men being with the men and the women being with the, it's called an orgy. And it's not just two couples, it's a whole room full of folk. And it's called an orgy. And it's real. It's real. Listen, if one can't satisfy me, what can I do with two? What is it, 4, 5? You done lost your mind. Come on, Chip. Orgies and the like. Orgies and anything like them. He said, I warn you, as I did before, that those who live like this. Huh? What does it say? Does it, no matter how much you jump, shout, scream, how much you give, how much you do, if you are full of any of the things we have just read, the Bible says. He said, I'm warning you, stop. He said, I done told you before. He said, I'm going to stop you because if you live like this, you will not. What is warning? He said you won't. Now, I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know what the next 15 minutes going to hold. But can I bless you? We have gone through so much. We have grown a lot closer to God to let the end come, and we missed the mark. No, seriously. And we missed the mark trying to fulfill the flesh and allowing the enemy to present us with a seducing spirit to sow into all kinds of witchcraft. Is witchcraft real? Yes, it is. Let me close my Bible so we can get out of here. Some folk frown up Deacon Daughtry during Easter season and Christmas because everybody know that Easter is about Christ, crucifixion, and resurrection. Christmas is about his birth. And they get a problem. Because when you start dealing with Easter bunnies and eggs, you're dealing with paganism. No, y'all can talk to me. It's okay. And when I get up and start saying, listen, folk will take folk to see Santa Claus, won't bring them to the church for them to feel the presence of Jesus. Now I tell the children straight up from the pulpit, and the people be up there just cringing. Let me tell you something. There's nothing that a rabbit did on Calvary's Hill. No, tell them the truth. No, listen, I know we hide eggs, but it really has nothing to do with Easter. Nothing. Tell them the truth. Why y'all doing it then? We're doing it at the church so that you don't have to go out in the street to do it. Then Santa Claus, boy, they showed them parents with them little children, they sure hate me to say anything about a man in a red suit. Bumper red suit, I need them to be covered by some red blood. Listen, they brought all those things in which are false gods. Now listen, now the economy profits out of something that was meant for Christ to be glorified. Y'all can talk to me if you want to. Next month, there's another holiday that's called Halloween, and folk gonna dress their children up as monster and alien and ghosts. And when it was first originated, it was originated All Saints Night. God, where everybody remembered the saints that went home, but because of paganism, they end up calling it Halloween because they're trying to raise the dead. It is a form of sorcery and seductive spirits. That's the other part. Something to make money. And then, they do. And then got the nerve to let the children go door to door. Now, I'm guilty of it. I did it too. But when I found out better, I tell them real quick, look here, I go buy you some candy. Talking about some trick or treat. It ain't no trick or treat. It's a trick. No, it's another form of spiritual warfare. Listen, and it has blinded the mind of the believers. Let's tell them the truth. No, you ain't finna sit on Santa's lap. Ain't such thing as a sinner. There's a such thing as a Christ. Tell them the truth. Come on, I'm done for the night. Catch back up with you. I got a lot to cover. Come on, stand to your feet.